Howdy. Really nice clear sky outside, full moon, and no sign of any snow just yet. Just over the weekend, there was some terrible riots in Dublin. There was an awful lot of damage done. It was some of the worst rioting in Ireland for the last 10, 15 years as a consequence of a stabbing that had occurred. Thankfully, all involved with the stabbing have survived. There's one person that's still in critical condition, but please God, she survived the last 48 hours. She should pull through it. Um, as for the perpetrator, it was great to see that on the social media platforms that his name was withheld, his nationality was withheld as well. And fair play, because we don't need to know that kind of information. That kind of information is divisive, and it's only going to cause even more trouble and stir up emotions that don't need to be stirred up. One thing that we can all agree on is a pitiful human being in desperate situation, and furthermore, in terms of the riots, we see there was an involvement with hardliners in there, and there was also opportunists in there, in that a lot of those shops were broken into and a lot of stock was stolen. Um, the government's response to that was basically that they are going to increase laws allowing the guards to take footage from security cameras, and through the footage and the artificial intelligence they will be able to track down every single one of those perpetrators, and they will be um, adjudicated accordingly. And what kind of people were involved in those riots? Well, from the footage that I've seen, there's mainly male, 18 to 25, 30-year olds. Um, and I just wonder how many of them, after their day's pillage, and how many of them actually went home to nice houses or apartments with mammy and daddy to talk to, or tenants to live, or colleagues who could, they had shelter, they had food, they had water, they had all the amenities, they have the internet as well. Um, they're not in desperate circumstances. So why were they pillaging in the first place? And that's my beef. That's what I'm trying to figure out here, is the riots and the crime is really symptoms of something that's wrong with our society. And in fairness to Ireland, Ireland is a lovely place to live in. We're fantastic. We're open-minded. We're liberal. We're a democracy. We're open to an awful lot, and we are mature. We're a mature society. But there's that little bit of darkness there that needs to be addressed. And I think the issue there for those young people is the fact that how many of them are students? How many of them have commitments relationship wise? How many of them have financial commitments like jobs, mortgages? How many of them have responsibilities? That's the question. What institutions do they ascribe to? For example, I'm Catholic, okay? I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm an employee, and I'm a volunteer. And I'm also a military enthusiast. And with all those different responsibilities, they mean I ascribe to various institutions with their own values and their own principles. And yes, it is kind of complicated having 7 or 8 different institutions to ascribe to. However, by ascribing to those institutions, by agreeing by those principles and values, I become more trustworthy. By deviating from those institutions, I'm opening myself up to a whole plethora of accusations, charges, crossing the lines, you know? So I wonder how many of those young people, those young males, are, how many institutions are they part of? For example, are they part of the GAA? Are they part of Feroiga? Are they part of the Scouts? Are they part of a men's shed, for example? That's my question. And from what I take on it, my military enthusiast take on it is that by if they were part of a military enthusiast club, they would be able to sit down and have a conversation all about the issues that they're facing today. Do they have the money to go into JD Sports and buy a brand new pair of sneakers? Do they have the resources to be able to do those things? Why do they feel the need to bust down a couple of doors and smash property and cause destruction? You know, by engaging with them in a club environment, you can support them, you can direct them, you can advise them of a better way of doing things. Furthermore, I think I mentioned it before in an earliest one of my earlier podcasts, that like things like airsoft equipment is very, very expensive. And of course, yeah, you're big into the hobby now, but 2 or 3 years later, that rifle is sitting in a cupboard somewhere, or the uniform is molding away in the attic somewhere. You know, would it not be better to share those resources with other like-minded people? Terms and conditions apply. You know, that's what I think is the solution to this. In that there should be more community initiatives being able to engage with our young energetic males. That's all I have to say. Take care.